Welcome to A Picky Vegan. Hi, daughter. Hey.
Hello.
So today we're going to be making lemon and honey tea in a jar. So we're going to be using lemons as you see them. We have mason jars that are about 28 ounces roughly. And then we're going to be using Kirkland brand Colorado raw unfiltered honey, which we buy at Costco. Get whatever you get at your store. Okay? So let's get started.
So these lemons are already pre-washed. We're going to cut off the ends because we don't need them. And we're going to make not an inch thick slice, but pretty thin. This right here, these two knuckles in your finger are about an inch. So I would say probably 1/4 of that, or just eyeball it. About this thick. So not super thick, but not too thin either. And since we have about 8 lemons, we're going to try for about 4 lemons or 6 lemons in one jar. We're just going to cut them and see how many fills up a jar. It's not going to fill it up all the way because you are going to be adding honey on top of it, and you're going to use a lot of honey for this. So be prepared for that.
It's so good. It's so worth it, you guys. We usually try to keep this in the fridge, although it is a family favorite.
Yeah. Okay. And then it's too hard to hold. That's where you won't want it to cut the end off a little more before you got these slices. So you can just cut it in half, and that does the same thing.
One.
Yeah, one. So I just cut it so you basically start seeing the insides pop out a little bit. And it's fine if the seeds are still in each slice. You don't have to remove the seeds. You can if you want, but so far, from what I've seen, it doesn't affect the flavor or anything.
And I actually saw seedless lemons at the store, but I refused to get them. I was like, I grew up with seeds and lemons. Let's get the seeds and lemons,
Yeah.
okay?
And then we're going to cut more, but just as an example of how we're going to do this, you're going to take your jar and make a small mound of lemons on the inside, or try to. I know not everyone's hand's going to fit inside the jar since everyone has different size jars. So for me, the easiest thing to do is you can try to be really fancy and stack them in the center and then go on the outside, but that's kind of hard to do. So I push them all to one side and then fill up around them. That is a lot easier to do. So you should end up something like this, where they will be pressed up against the side. And you really just want to fill up all the different gaps. And honey will be in each gap technically, but it's nice when it's tightly packed in there so you can fit as many lemons in there to really get a good balance of honey and lemon ratio for flavor. Yeah, that works. And then something you can do too is once you have this kind of high mound, you can start pushing it on the outside and moving your tall mound kind of around the jar instead of just being in one place. And then once again, going around and kind of pushing it down the sides. Don't worry if you end up pushing the lemon and some lemon juice comes out. That's actually perfect. You do want some juice to start coming out a little bit. And as you start pressing the lemons down a bit, it would just naturally happen. And again, it's fine. But definitely make sure you wash your hands beforehand. I did it off camera, so they are washed. I promise.
Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah. You can see some juices coming out. And like I said, that's fine. You want the juice to come out a little bit and be tightly packed. I thought I was careful, and
You got it wet a little bit?
Yes.
Towel.
I got one. I was like, oh, this part of the cutting board isn't wet, and then without watching, I moved it into the wetness, so. But from here on out, you should get the idea. And we're not adding these seeds because they don't add anything, nor do they take away from anything, but I'm not going to go out of my way to add seeds to it. And once you're filled almost to the top, you can add more lemons, but first I want to go ahead and add the honey because it's going to add a lot more volume to this, but then also it will move the lemons around a little bit so that you'll be able to add more. And the goal isn't to fill it to the brim. You do want a little bit of room for air and just extra juice because again, the juice will come out from lemons just from either squishing it down or it will just naturally come out. I'm actually going to take the entire lid off because I don't need it. Like, can you imagine trying to squirt it through the tiny hole for the honey?
Oh no.
It would take so long. And you were literally just going to dump the honey in here.
So that is why you said we needed another bottle.
Yeah. And see how it's staying at the top? It won't. It will slowly start going down. And
It's trickling, you guys, and it's really a trickle.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can even get a fork or a spoon and move the lemons around a little bit. And you do want to reach the bottom. And I think Grammy also had it to where you put a little bit of honey in first and just kind of do it in layers. It's been a long time, so I remember doing it this way, but...
Oh, it works.
Yep, but see that bubble that pops up? So that's not nearly enough honey, but it's not going down fast enough, so I'm just going to get a spoon. We need a bigger spoon because this is a pretty long jar, and I don't want to touch the honey, not today at least. And you will end up squishing some of the lemons in this process too, but like I said earlier, it's fine.
Yeah, see now I see it going down on the side.
Yeah. You just want to move it enough to... Here we go. Can you hear it?
Oh, and I can smell the lemon. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. You think, okay, it's trickled everywhere. Nope.
Nope, just that one
See,
side.
look over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see it combining into the lemon juice at
You
the
do.
bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you want. Okay, I'm just gonna go through and check every side. See this little air pocket right here. You can also take this time to push your lemons down a little bit just to really pack them in there tight. And also just get some juice out of them even more. And And we will be adding a few more lemons to this one, and you will get a little bit of honey on you at this point since it's kind of all around the side of the jar. There's not much you can do to escape it at this point. I personally like just taking my spoon against the back of the lemon and kind of guiding it down. And then just a little bit of honey on top. You don't have to cover them completely, but I just want to bring the honey up a little bit more. Yeah. And I turn it like that so you don't get a mess on the outside of the bottle.
Yay!
Makes for easier cleanup. So for now, we'll leave it just like that, and we'll move on to the second one. And we still have 5 lemons left.
Mm-hmm.
So we may end up using a third jar. Yeah, except for this piece.
Okay.
I like eating the parts that.
Oh my goodness! Of course you do.
Because there's a little bit of the lemon guts right here.
Mhm.
It's really good. See, they're just white here. There's
Oh yeah,
nothing to
that's not.
eat.
Yeah, no.
It's a seed for your troubles.
I'll take those.
Mm-hmm. And then if you don't want to cut them in half when it gets too thin to cut, you can leave them like this. I just like them being really thin. I think it's easier to kind of stack them, but then again, I haven't tried the other way. So let us know in the comments below if you've tried leaving them super thick, or if you do even thinner. And then once we are done filling up the jars with lemons, we're gonna put these in the fridge for, we usually just leave them overnight. You could probably get away with 5 to 6 hours in the fridge. You just want it to be cold essentially. So technically if you really didn't want to wait, you could just let it sit in there for about 3 to 4 hours and then just add some ice. So what you do is you take out your honey lemon in a jar once it's done being cold in the fridge, and you add a little bit to your mug or glass cup or whatever you use to drink out of. About, well, I cut that one too thin. See? Anyway, probably about, again, an inch of liquid, if not a little bit more, and the rest is water. So it's about 80 to 90% water, no, 80% water and then 20% of the actual mixture in the jar. And that is your lemon honey tea. And we drink it hot. It's really good that way. I have drinking it cold. It's closer to lemonade when it's cold, but it can be a little sweeter, to me at least, when it's cold. So I drink it hot.
See, what I thought about was one day we need to do it, but we need to put strawberries in there with the lemon, and that way it makes strawberry lemonade.
Yeah.
How about that?
That would be good.
Mm-hmm. So that would be the cold drink.
Yeah. Definitely. And then what we haven't tried, but this is sun tea. I'm just putting it out in the sun
Right.
and warming it up.
But we're gonna need some sun. It's a little cold right now.
Yeah, and there's snow everywhere. There's a little bit of honey on the cutting board now.
Oh,
But, I mean, I know it's gonna be cleaned anyway, but
yes, it is.
the honey's supposed to be in the jars. And see, as you're filling it up, there's this triangle gap.
Mm-hmm. I see
So
that.
we're just gonna take the small little wedge, just put it there. And it fits perfectly. And then when I do take out a little bit of some of the mixture for when I'm drinking it, I do take a couple lemons as well. It doesn't add too much really. I just like to think it does.
Right.
There we go. And what's nice about this too is once you've kind of drained all the liquid out of it, as long as your lemons aren't too pruny, you can add honey to them again and kind of like a second round with them. But then after the second time, I wouldn't use them again because they get really pruny and there's not much juice left. Of course, with looking at this, you think this drink would be super sweet, but it has a nice balance of being sweet and sour. I promise it's not as sweet as it looks.
It's really not. It's a really good balance.
Yeah. And you just see it pouring, like not a tub, but
Like,
this.
have some lemon with your honey.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely times where there's more lemon than honey, so even when you get your mixture out into your cup, you add more honey because it's not sweet enough. It's actually too tart sometimes. But I think it's better to have to add honey after the fact instead of trying to scramble to fit in lemons because you usually don't have room for more lemons.
Absolutely. It's so good, you guys. I hope you guys try it.
Yeah, please let us know if you do.
Leave us a comment below. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. You want to make sure that you also hit the notification button so that you are notified every time we upload a new video, so you don't miss out on all this goodness that we're doing.
This giant herb
Right.
bubble.
It did good on that first side.
It did. You can actually see the lemon juice on the bottom
Yes.
again. It's like a honey avalanche. So I'm probably going to add these last 2 lemons to both jars. So we actually need a third jar. So there's a small one in the
Yay.
cupboard over there. Because this is actually too high. I knew as I was putting them, I was like, it's too high, it's too much.
So like the size.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So there's one lemon left, and I want to take some out of these. I just put them in, but it's too high.
So it's gonna be this size jar.
Yep. It's
That might be 8 ounces at the most.
maybe they're not marked, sadly.
Right.
But so I'm gonna cut this lemon first because we can leave these 2 jars like that if we need to. And we could save this lemon technically, but I'd rather get them all
That's right. Get them
going.
working.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you end up in a situation like this where you are moving some from a different jar, you will get honey on your hands, especially now.
I took the top off.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, I know what you have to go.
Okay, so this needs a little bit of honey. So you know those lemons are too hot. Well, I say too high. I mean more so for convenience they're too high when you can't just place the bottle because it's touching the lemon.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, I just didn't want to block the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to leave it like that.
Right.
And that will probably be enough for that jar, so we'll just go ahead and I'll wash my hands. It's so sticky. There's also honey on the counter now. That's wonderful. We're going to push slowly for this
okay,
one.
because it's going to come just...
Yep. And knocked
Oops.
it. Oh, you think there's honey on the counter now? Just wait.
Right. I got something for you.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, so that one's actually good on honey.
Yes, it is.
There's probably actually not enough here for this
Mm-mm.
one. I'm trying to use every last one.
I see that. I'm like, yeah, it's done.
The first one only needs a little bit of honey.
And since it's flowing so easily,
Mm-hmm.
that won't take much.
Yeah. I just see it's really liquidy, so that means it's got a lot of lemon juice.
Yes.
So I just want a little extra honey.
And just start pulling up. Because it's going to start coming back out if you don't pull up.
I
There you
know.
go.
I'll have to clean the edge of the bottle, but it's fine.
Okay. Let's put it over here.
Alright, so that's done. We're going to take our lids now. Make sure they're on tight. Especially because notice we just put all this honey in and it is sticky. So when you want to take some out, what you would do to make sure it's mixed really well is you just flip it upside down and let all the honey at the bottom come back to the top, flip it back over, and it should be mixed pretty well for you to take some out. Which you do this technique usually when you're about ready to drink some. It's
Yes.
kind of pointless right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you want to make sure the lid's always on tight.
Oh, yeah, because their counter would be a mess.
Oh, it'd be so horrible. It's one thing to have lemon juice everywhere, but have honey everywhere?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So even though I just tighten these lids, even when I get some tomorrow, I will always just retighten it just to make sure.
That's right.
But there you go. And they look so nice. This will
looks so
last
good.
us like a month or two. I don't know. If three of
It
us
just
drink,
depends, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see a couple of weeks.
I mean, we drink other tea, so it's not
Right.
the only one we drink.
Right.
But and I have snacks for the rest of the day.
You have just tuned in to A Picky Vegan. Thank you for watching. Be sure to leave us a comment below, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification button. This has been our lemon and honey tea in a jar. See you next time.